Let me preface this next story with something you have likely figured out while watching the 208 for any length of time. We are not accountants on this team. Don't even pretend to be. But we thought we'd address something more than 40 million Americans and tens of thousands of Idahoans have experienced this past 12 months. Unemployment. More specifically, unemployment benefits and taxes paid on them. Because yes, that's a thing. More than a third of people who collected unemployment had no idea those funds were taxable. Usually in a non-pandemic year, if you filed for unemployment and you got some cash, you'd pay taxes on that income at the end of the year. But you know that $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill that was just signed into law last week? That eliminated federal taxes that you would normally have paid in normal times. That's what it did. Federal taxes, though, not necessarily state taxes. There are 15 states that do not collect taxes on unemployment benefits, 9 of whom don't collect state income tax at all, so they're also in that list. And there are 3 others that just passed temporary legislation that would make 2020 and 2021 exempt from state taxes on unemployment benefits. Guess who is not on that list? Idaho. So yes, while you're busy gathering your tax documents for next month's filing deadline and you received unemployment compensation for being out of work, keep an eye out for that 1099-G form because you're going to need that. However, federal taxes will not be paid this year on unemployment benefits for 2020. Here's how this is going to break down. There's a special provisional part of the American Rescue Plan. If you received less than $10,200 in unemployment, that money will not be taxed this year. If both you and your spouse lost your job and you're filing a joint return, that exclusion can go as high as $20,400. There are a lot of wormholes with this. There's adjusted gross income restrictions, so it's not really that cut and dry. And let me reiterate, we are not your friendly neighborhood tax preparers. But when we looked into this, if how it might affect Idaho and how we collect taxes on unemployment benefits, we found the Gem State taxes them at the same level as the federal government. So with no federal taxes this year, those jobless claims, that would mean no state taxes either, right? Not so fast. According to the Idaho Tax Commission, Idaho will still be collecting taxes on unemployment checks that you received last year, for all of them. Here's what they had to say about that today. Yes, Idaho conforms to the Internal Revenue Code as of the first of the year. However, that COVID relief bill with the tax waiver wasn't passed until last week, March 11th, after January 1st, 2021, which means Idaho would not be conforming to the tax provisions in that act. And if you thought our state budget surplus was swollen now, biggest in state history, wait until it starts to see the pieces of that federal pandemic unemployment compensation. That $600 extra in unemployment claims that came every week, yeah, that will be taxed by the state of Idaho too. In order for the state to not collect taxes on unemployment benefits, it would require legislative action. At last check, there was no such legislative action lined up at the State House so far this session. However, we did find an unemployment benefits bill that was introduced last week that we thought was interesting. Senate Bill 1182, sponsored by Senator Christy Zito. It would lower the maximum number of weeks one can collect unemployment down from 26 to 20. Because if we've learned anything this past year, in a time of crisis, sometimes that safety net, just a month and a half too long, isn't it?